if you love slow stitching, I'll bet you have a lovely stash of fabrics, lace, trims, that sort of thing that you've spent years collecting. And if you're new to slow stitching, well, you can see that building your own stash is an exciting part of it. But some of my best fabrics have been ruined over the years. Now, I've been collecting for over 30 years, and I want to share just a few of the things that I've learned about caring for my treasures, my fabrics. I can't wait to show you a really enjoyable slow stitch project. It's one of those things that I can use my precious pieces, but then they also protect the rest of my stash as well. So I've tried several things over the years. I expect you have too. Some were more successful than others. I mean, when I buy fabric, if it's old, it absolutely needs to be washed and dried thoroughly, doesn't it? On a flat surface, if possible. I mean, if it's fragile or delicate, then you don't really want it to be hanging on the line. I iron it really carefully. I avoid putting creases in it if at all possible. You know, I don't sort of fold it over and then iron on the bits that are folded. Obviously, I would roll it if I can so that you don't have any of those fold marks on at all. Now, long term, obviously, acid-free paper, put it in a cool place, away from the direct sunlight, away from strong smells, moisture, all that sort of thing. Now, I've tried vacuum bags and things like that, but to be honest, I found them a little bit too sort of severe for my delicate items, but that could be just because I keep going, sucking every last bit of air out of there, you know, that I possibly can. But anyway, I'm not going to go into too much detail about those because I'm trying to actually store less fabric and use more of it these days. Usually in the spring, summer, I try to wash it. Anything that I've got in boxes and things like that. I also try and keep the storage containers themselves really clean. I use other fabric to line them usually. I hoover the suitcases and boxes and things like that before I put the fabric back. I try and refold it or again roll it, you know, before it goes back in. It's not just staying there for years and years with the same folds in it. And I also make little lavender bags of some kind to repel the, you know, the moths. I don't know if they're a problem in your area. In the English countryside, yeah, they can be a bit of a pain. And also I absolutely love the smell of lavender. That's another reason of doing it. Now, obviously, I can't imagine there's anybody watching that hasn't made lavender bags in the past. I can't really teach you how to do that, but I can't wait to show you what I've made this week. I mean, you know, like I say, we've all made them. These days, though, the difference for me is that I stitch them slowly. Enjoyable to make, enjoyable to do, and I put them, you know, in my wardrobe. I put them in other cupboards. I just hang them anywhere else I can in the house, really. I now stitch them slowly and I use them everywhere. So we just start with basic fabric, don't we? I've pulled out a whole load of bits and pieces that I want to use on them. These are my favourite pieces at the minute. If I can use the things I have on spools, then it takes out a lot of the guesswork for me. I don't have to spend ages looking for what goes together and things like that. So it works for me. So I start with a rectangle of fabric, like that. Get my cereal box, my spaghetti box, whatever. Fold in the edges. So literally have folded across there and finger pressed it. Take out the iron and help you if you like. I try to avoid the iron if I'm already, you know, in the middle of something anyway. It just kind of slows me down to start doing that. So fold that one over. Again, so now I just have this little piece here, fold it in half, and you can see where I've pinned it just now, and I've just taken them out to show you, that's all. So pin that along there again and stitch along the sides. Now I tend to have a long piece stitch up both sides because I don't really want it with, you know, one side of stitching and the other one folded. I want it to be even, that's all. Don't forget to thread up several needles at the same time when you start. It just avoids you having to stop and start then in between, doesn't it? So if I take those out, it'll be easy to show you. Start with my thread in there. Fold it back up. Put some pins in. You see it's holding really well now because I've had the pins in it. It's actually pretty much staying where it should. So that's no worries. I only need to put in a couple now. There we are. And then I'll just stitch along here. So we want to go, ideally, you know, I want as little as possible to show, but I'm not worried about what does show. So you see along that edge there, I'm just going straight over the top and then an angle before I come in the next side. I'm sure you all do this and you've done this a million times, so I don't mean to teach grandma to suck eggs here, but I know there are quite a few people who watch who haven't actually been slow stitching for long. So please don't get don't get cross with me for stating the obvious. This is just for the benefit of anyone like that, because we want new people to be picking up slow stitching all the time, don't we? All right, so I'm doing that all the way along. Nice small stitches, look. Can you see them there? And it really doesn't take long to go up one side and then the other side. I would do them separately, and I would also start here. I want this bit, I don't want to make it go wonky by starting there and going inwards, do I? So start at this end, go outwards, finish off your thread, start at that end and go outwards. And then we end up with something like this. Now you can see that I've tucked in the top as well. So after I've sewn it, I've literally tucked it in like that. And then just make sure they're even. So finger press it again. Another couple of pins in there. And now when I've stitched across the top, just an ordinary little back stitch. Can you see it? Not a lot on there. So just a nice tiny back stitch, a few mil from the top there. I don't want it to show up particularly, but you know, I'm not too worried about hiding it either. As long as it's small and relatively neat, then I think it's nice for it to show, don't you? You just want to make sure that you get that exactly the same. So tuck it in and then compare it to your front and make sure it's even, because at the end of the day, we want those to be together like that. All right, so that's where I've gotten to on this one. Then I've just made this little loop here. So this was just a straight piece of fabric like that. I folded it into the middle. What would I make it? Maybe 2 centimeters, and then fold in each side. But because this is going to be a little tie here, and because we don't have to sort of match it to anything, you could just do it like that, pin it, and then stitch along. And again, it really doesn't take very long. Same stitch, just going along there. So starting off here, I want to be going over straight and then angle it when we pick up the other side. All right, straight over, then angled. And again, tiny stitches. If they're tiny, then they don't need to be hidden. Keep remembering that. So to tend to do a couple of stitches there, and then make sure that you pull them taut. I mean, if you didn't remember to do this, and you know, at the end of it you thought, oh no, I don't have anything to hang it with, it's not really a problem, is it? You could put anything you wanted in the top. You could put a little bit of ribbon. You know those bits of ribbon that you cut off your tops sometimes, because they put them in blouses, don't they? And then when you come to wear them, they start poking out at the neck. So you usually chop those off, don't you? That sort of thing. I've doubled it over like that. Now, you could double it over like that and use it like that if you want. I personally would tend to have it straight like that, put it together, and then you have this bit here. So do you see how it makes it lie flat on both sides with that little one up there? It just means then that all your hand stitching is in the middle or on the outside, but you know, it makes it a little bit more sort of even. And then I've just attached it very quickly there, look. I'm sure I don't need to give you any more detail than that. And that's what I have so far. So, you know, my little spools that I was making before, well, I just, honestly, they are so handy. So like for this one, what have I used? Okay, so part of the reason these spools work for me is that it limits what I pick up. So on this one, look, you can see I've just put some pieces around. nice and easy. I'm going to attach the buttons on there and then we're pretty much done. So let's get this one on and then we'll play around with another. Button keeps moving around. I'm not doing very well at keeping it straight, am I? But it really doesn't matter, does it? If you're tying on 2 buttons, my advice would always be to end off. So I've ended off properly on that one, look. And then even though I'm not going to cut it, I'm still going to do a couple of stitches on this one to secure it before I start. Not that I'm expecting them to drop off, but hey, why risk it if all we have to do to prevent it is put on a couple of extra stitches, huh? As always, working to my very last piece, my very last bit of thread. Never allowing myself enough. I should just finish off earlier, like just now. I should have finished off, shouldn't I, and picked up another bit, but I don't know. I guess that'd just be a bit too easy, wouldn't it, really? Now, obviously, at this stage, it's anything, isn't it? It's a little pouch. I mean, I would use it to, I don't know, perhaps if you're giving away some money or a voucher or something like that, then I think that's a lovely little thing to give it in which case you just leave it open, wouldn't you? Later on, we're going to just fill it with lavender and just stitch it along there a little bit. But there's my first one. So similarly, what do I want to do? So if I had this one, look, these are all bits that I've dyed, and these are ones that we made nice and soft and tried to age a couple of videos ago, and I really, honestly, I really love this. So I'm going to, because I want them a bit scrappy, I'm just going to tear some bits. And I quite like when things go over the edges. So that one, put around there, take a bit more off there, and some there. Save all these tiny bits, obviously. That will go in the scrap box and that will be used, absolutely. But again, that's really, you know, a good thing for these spools, isn't it? That even those tiny bits, you know, I can just stick them back on again. I've got some pins in here, look. I just pop them back in. So that one, what do we want with? Should we use a bit of that one? Yeah, that one's quite nice. So this is one that I dyed, and I will show you guys how I dyed it at some point when I can get out and dye some more bits. So I'm trying not to cover the whole thing because I want the fragrance of the lavender to come out. I don't want to have this fabric to be too thick in the beginning, and then I don't want to cover it all up, do I? Because we still want it to come out. So, well, that was quite nice, look. That one's similar to that shape then, isn't it? But that's okay. So I could just put it slightly bigger there and then down. I just like it when things go sort of from front to back. I quite like that rather than just all being on the front or all being on the back. So I think what I'll do at the minute then is just pin some of these, and then we'll get the rest done, and I could even just sew these or finish them off screen, couldn't I? I'm trying to make my videos a little bit shorter because I do think sometimes I'm just, you know, yapping on and you already have the idea with just 10 minutes in. So let's see how I do with this one. Stitches on there. What else am I going to have from this? Oh, I haven't used any of this one yet, have I? So this one's quite nice as well, look. So that would have made quite a nice hanging piece, wouldn't it? But I think I'm going to use that same one there. Yes, I will. Right. So maybe that's probably almost enough. I might even carry that one on the whole way around. Look, it could go like that, or I could sort of tie it there. Shall we do it all the way around? I suppose we could, couldn't we? So there's another bit there. That one, maybe. I don't know, I think that's probably enough. I think I'm going to carry that one on the whole way around. Look, it could go like that, or I could sort of tie it there. Shall we do it all the way around? I suppose we could, couldn't we? So that one, go in there. Okay, pin him roughly, and then later on we'll be putting some buttons on anyway, won't we? So shall I put this one on? Where shall I put that? It could just go around the top there, couldn't it? So that one could go around there. Okay, so imagine it, as I say, with some extra buttons and things on in a minute. Back on the little spool. If I'm putting things on spools, then I do try and get a little bit of everything to show, so that when it's wound on, I don't think I said that right at all just now. Wind it on like that. Let's get all this spread out a bit, shall we? Because next time we see it, we want to think, oh yes, I know what to do with that. So tie that one. Pin that one. And then just put big pins in if I'm doing this so that I can take them out easily, that's all. As long as you're going downwards, not through it, then you're really not going to catch your fingers on it at all. Right, so that's number 2. Number 3, use a different one. Should we use this one then? Completely different. So what am I going to use out of this one? A bit of that, and a bit of that, and a bit of that? Don't know, let's see, shall we? It's a little bit fancy for that one. Or do you like the contrast of the fancy and not? I'm not so keen. But that's nice on there, isn't it? Honestly, I find hundreds and hundreds of uses for these little brooches and things. They're just so decorative and lovely. Okay, so on this one, as you can see on the spools as well, I usually put a few buttons, just so that next time, it's not, you know, that everything on here must be used together, but hey, if it all goes, then why not? Okay, let's take some of this off and some of that one. It's a beautiful colour, isn't it? Beautiful, beautiful. Don't think I can rip this one. Goodness me. Okay, so it did rip it, but it is actually stretching a little bit as well, so that's absolutely fine for here. Put him on there. Rough it up a bit. If I can use this sort of shape to it, then I will, rather than wasting any of it. So let's just fray the edge a little bit more. Pop it in there. Oh, look at the colours. They're just beautiful. I absolutely love that one. All right, and this one goes with it, doesn't it? So see how they match? They weren't bought at the same time or anything, but they're beautiful together, aren't they? So this looks as though it's, I don't know, cut out of a sleeve. I don't know. Some sort of clothing, isn't it? Like, so I guess a shirt. Ooh, so that's nice ripping it like that. I like this, but it is pulling it as well. So I think if I do bit and bit, so it doesn't go completely stretch the whole bit. Okay, so you see how it's pulled it? That's fine for these sort of projects, isn't it? But if I was doing something a bit neater, I might not be quite so happy with it. It's that edge there that I like, and that one that I'm not as keen on. So that could go around like that. I think I'm going to take off some here. If you don't cut it enough, it just basically ignores you, doesn't it? So that's quite nice, I think. Or should I have it that way? Perhaps I'll have it that way for a change. No, I like it that way better. I do like that better. Okay, just a couple of these to show us what we were intending to do with it. Now it needs something in the middle there, doesn't it? So I could either Use a little bit of this, look, that's very nice. Or this one. Well, I suppose I could put that on that whole thing, couldn't I, have buttons? Okay, so why reinvent the wheel? Why not use the whole thing like that? I'm going to do more spools with more little like clusters and things on because, yeah, it's just so ridiculously easy, isn't it? And sometimes, you know, you don't want to spend ages doing it, do you? So that's really nice. I've got this little area here, obviously. Let's just hide a little. There we are. Oh my goodness, look how beautiful. Oh my goodness, I love, love, love this one. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Now, if you think that I'm covering up too much for the smell to come out, don't forget, you know, have all the reverse and everything of it. So I think it'll be all right. But if you were concerned that there was just, the fabric was all too thick, then either use finer fabric in the beginning or put on less. But I quite like that. Might even put a few more bits up there afterwards. I had some more buttons, didn't I? Where did they go? Buttons. Oh, there they are. Oh, so yeah, that looks nice on there, doesn't it? I might even use that on there, look. Right, so it depends where I'm putting it, doesn't it? If I'm putting it in a drawer or in the wardrobe, then actually I wouldn't want this because I wouldn't want clothes to get caught on these metal bits, would I? So perhaps I won't then. Perhaps I'll just use a couple more buttons up there. Okay, so that's 3. And we'll just do one more, shall we? What shall we do? Shall we use some of these? Or some reds? Some of these nice reds. We always like these, don't we? Yeah, that'd be quite nice, wouldn't it? So, again, these tiny little spools, they're just so blimmin' useful. They really, really, really are. And it encourages me. So this is tiny, and obviously I've put a little, I think it's like a cufflink kind of, you know, shank there that took off the shank, and well, me and my husband, I asked him to straighten it and then knock it into the actual wood, so that's staying in there quite well. It's like a little wheel going around, look. But because this is really tiny, it's made me tear up some other bits, which I just really, really like. It just really works for me, you know. Like I say, limiting the number of pieces I'm using in the beginning is so worthwhile to me. So these aren't actually old pieces, as you can see. This is not new, but it's not, you know, not like antique or anything, obviously. This is just linen. This is just very, very ordinary stuff. I love the raspberry colour, but I did age this one as well while we were doing the other bits in a previous video. Can you see? So it just looks like it's a bit more worn. And this one is actually quite a new fabric, I think. But I love the colours of it. So on that one, because it has a pattern, I don't want to spoil anything, do I? So maybe if I use, right, okay, don't forget that. Just use it. Just. Right, I'm going to tear a strip off the bottom. This is a Moda fabric, so I say not that old, but absolutely beautiful, I thought. It's because this one's such a strong colour, I don't want quite as much of it. Well, I know I'm doing the same kind of style, you know, putting them all together in the same kind of way, but I just think it works for this. I mean, they're all really similar, aren't they, what I've done? Hey, why worry if it looks all right? That one, oopsie, might be the only scrap that I don't use, but obviously that still won't be thrown, will it? It'll just go into my box that I use for stuffing. This one, lovely one there. And then because we have it, I guess we could do a little, I don't know, not a bow exactly, but we could do or maybe we could do a little bow of some kind. I don't know. A bit twee, really, isn't it? Yeah, I'm not so fussed on that one. Don't like that one so much. But that's okay. are funny. They have a mind of their own. Yeah, by the time we put on our few buttons. Oh, there's a nice button as well, look. You see that one? It's one of those covered ones. So that'll look nice on there, won't it? And that also is part of the reason why I usually have little buttons and things. So I don't have many things on here, but just like that, pretty much its star was, I don't know, it's from some sort of Christmas decorations, and it just goes with so many different things. So that's lovely on there, isn't it? Should we put that one on there even? I mean, it's completely dry. You know, it's all warped and that, so why not? Now to sew it on, I've just put one hole in there, look, I'll just make another. Yes, this would be the easiest way of doing it, wouldn't it? Put it on there first. There we are. It's really handy, this little cushion. I think we'll put that one on there. See how we go. So I'm going to stitch these on a minute and then just show you at the end how they've turned out. But I think you can see how easy they are. Where's my lavender? A bag of lavender somewhere. I have lots and lots of this old lavender, look. I have that all around the kitchen, and obviously I'll just replace that this year. So that came from my mum-in-law's garden. She had a few nice lavender pieces that she gave me then. The smell is just, oh, it's wonderful. I love, love lavender. Okay, so I have my own plants that I'm growing at the minute. So later in the year, I'll be able to make more of these. But I mean, you can buy it quite easily, can't you, anyway? Here are my plants, look. Now, the only thing with these is I have some that are just ordinary English lavender and others that are white English lavender. And I put sticks in them, thinking, you know, white flag, white stick. I'll remember that those are the white ones, except I don't have, I have 12 plants in total, and I don't have 6 white or 6 sticks in them still. So I don't know what's happened to those. Whether somebody's taken them out to use them for something else, or whether the birds have taken them, I do not know. But I can see what most of them will be, or the white ones anyway, and a couple of the others, well, they'll be a surprise, won't they? So, it's in there. Oh, it smells just wonderful, really, really, really lovely. And now I'm just going to stitch them along the top. Although I'm trying to sort of hurry through these a little bit, because I don't want to be wasting your time. You know, I hope you can see that these are just perfect for slow stitching. So up there then. As I said before, I've not worried too much about the inside of these. You know, I know that I'm going to close it up, so it doesn't have to look beautiful. But as long as I use tiny stitches along here, then I think it's going to turn out all right. And on this one here, you can see that I put in some little crosses and things, and, you know, some just decorative stitching there. It was just whatever I felt like when I was sitting there. But my advice on these would be the same as I usually say, which is make yourself up a few little bases, because, you know, why not, while you've got it all sort of laid out with the scissors in front of you and everything. And then after that, these are the jobs that you can just do anytime, anywhere, can't you? So it really is a, you know, sort of 10-minute, if you have 10 minutes to spare, pick up a couple of these, decorate them, and then just fill them all at the same time. And it's so easy, so lovely, so enjoyable, really, really is. And you can put as much time as you want into these. I mean, you don't need to, you know, it could take you a whole evening to do one, couldn't it? Or you could do 3 or 4 in an evening, completely up to you and how much decoration you want to put in. Now on this bit, I'm just going to go over this side a little bit, look, over there, and then I'm going to carry on. I want a few stitches there, don't I? So can you see the needle that I've picked up? It's not remotely the kind of needle that I should be using for this, but it really doesn't matter. There's only a few stitches, so it's not causing me any great pain at all. And then with these, if at the end of the year the smell has gone completely, then it's up to me, isn't it? I can open them up, really only take a second to close them again afterwards. I could just put some oil on them. I mean, I would try not to, it's really funny with sort of oils and things. I know lots of people just sort of reinvigorate them with the oil, and I'm always a little bit skeptical if I'm putting them near clothing. But these don't actually have to touch the clothing anyway, do they? That's so you can hang it on the, the actual coat hanger. That doesn't have to be anywhere on the clothes. So make these the size you want. Just do whatever is right for you, hey? And if you want to just put them in your drawers, fine. And if you just want to hang them up around your house, and then all you do is every so often, like I do with the lavender plants, even though the lavender plants don't have any flowers on them yet, they still give off such a lovely, lovely smell when you touch them. All right, I don't want it completely bulky because I want it to have room to sort of move around and for me to sort of crush it. And literally every time I open, say it's in the wardrobe, every time I open the wardrobe, I'll just give it a quick scrunch. So it's good for me, let alone good for repelling the moths. I know some people have a real problem. I think in Somerset especially, they seem to have problems with moths, don't they? Maybe we don't in Cornwall quite as much because it's, we're quite damp down here. I don't know, but that's, that's why we're so lush and green as well, isn't it? So there's one of my finished ones. Let me show you the others. Okay, can you see how they're all slightly different, all I think equally as nice. I'm sure you'll have your favourites, but that was just a lovely thing to do, and I will absolutely, I'm not saying this, I will put these in my boxes and things like that where I have other fabric. So if I need to, then I will put some acid-free tissue paper on top and then put this on the top of the paper before I close the box, suitcase or whatever. And then when you open it, it's just so lovely to have this fragrance. It might not have gone into the, the fabric particularly. You might not pull the fabric out and think, oh yes, that's lovely, it's lavender. But it just makes even opening the box a joy to do. I mean, you can't get more encouragement than that, can you really? So give these a go. I tell you what else I was going to do is, I was thinking about doing maybe a little series, I guess it would be, just, I want to, the little bits and pieces that I make, like this, I want to put them into some sort of book or something like that. So I'm thinking about how I'm going to do that. It was just nice, well, it will be nice, won't it, sort of at the end of the year, just to flick through and think, oh yeah, and I can always take things out and put things back into the book, can't I? So I'm going to think about that one and try and do a little video on that one. So let me know your thoughts on that, all right? Okay, I will see you soon when I'm thinking a little bit more about this little book that I'm talking about. In the meantime, there are the videos where we did the spools, there are the videos where we dyed the fabric and sort of aged that. Just have a look at the playlist there and see what you fancy. See you next time.